Here we have a nice Triumph T100C from 1970, and a few years ago I actually almost fully restored this machine. Certainly the engine got a full rebuild and a lot of the paintwork was attended to and tidied up. I did some work on the gearbox, had the crankshaft out and cleaned out the sludge strap. Anything and everything that was needed was changed and cleaned up and checked and so on, and it came back recently because the owner was complaining, quite rightfully actually, about the clutch sticking and being very difficult to free when it was started up and ridden. And I had suggested that maybe he started up and ran the engine while on the centre stand and put it in gear and pulled the clutch in and jabbed the back brake, but these machines do have a habit of the clutches sticking a bit, but this was, as he rightly thought, a bit too much. So I stripped the clutch, and a little bit of rust and pitting on the friction plates, on the plane plates, I'm sorry, seemed to be the culprit. Now normally I don't think it would have been much of a problem long term if the machine was used daily for commuting or something, but I mean that's very unlikely these days, and certainly being started up once every few weeks and perhaps doing 10 or 20 miles or whatever, if that, wasn't enough to sort of sort it out really. So I had the clutch apart, got rid of those pitted plane plates and put some, they weren't new but they were as good as new, plane plates in that were nice and smooth and shiny. And I'm hoping that although you still have to free the clutch, it's possible to do so just by kicking the engine over. A few kicks with the clutch pulled in does it, rather than having to start the engine up on the centre stand, stick it in gear and then slam on the back brake, which was a little bit overkill really. So I'll touch the engine again before we set out, because it'll be a separate video. I'll do all this waffle and then we'll take a ride around the block on it and see how things are. But I'll be starting from stone cold. I haven't run this engine since yesterday afternoon when I put new points in it, because the owner also said there was a misfire. Now when I started it, it didn't seem to misfire, but I thought I'd have a look anyway and ordered the new points in any case. And when I took the cover off, I found that there was oil down there and it had gone on one set of points, so probably that caused him his misfire, but maybe the oil had time to run off the points in the time between that happening and the machine getting here. So I not only put the new points in and timed them and strobed them, but I found that the seal behind the points mechanism between there and the timing case was hard and old as well. So I put a fresh new seal in there, so that should keep the oil away from the points. And what else? I strobe timed the ignition timing with the new points in there and put new spark plugs in as well. So in a short while I'm going to take a ride on this machine and just hopefully verify all is well. Okay, it's time to head out on this Triumph T100C and hopefully find that all is well with it. I've already done all the waffle and spiel, so let's get ready to go, and I hope, fingers crossed, that the camera angle will be reasonable and half decent. Tried my best. Let's see. Now then, also I'm going to try and free the clutch up while on the stand in neutral, so let's see if we can see that. There we are, the clutch is freed. Put the fuel on, ignition on. It's stone cold, I can assure you. Stop. Anyway, let's get my helmet on and let's go. If nothing else, It proves that the engine really is cold. That's what this is all about. I hope that we won't be looking up at the sky, but you never really can tell what I'm going to get. Just this there should do us. Only an hour or so earlier I was riding a BSA B44 Shooting Star, so this is a bike of a similar size from a similar era from one of the competitors in the market at the time. Almost compare them. Free the clutch again. There we are. Got the card up again. One card. Lights. charging well, running well. All seems happy with life, and hopefully the clutch will now be acceptable as well. It certainly freed off a lot more easily there from cold than I recall it doing before, so hopefully the owner will be happy as well. Interesting to ride it straight after that BSA B44 as well, because both bikes are a similar size and actually quite similar performance as well, although this one's quite a bit more busy. And also quite a bit smoother actually. Not that the BSA is a bone shaker, but this one was remarkably smooth. I'm quite happy to sort of go to 60 miles an hour and maybe a little bit beyond quite effortlessly too. So very nice bike, and another one that I'd be quite happy to have in my stable if I had loads of money and loads of room. Nice bike.